Hello guys, and welcome to another day with ZIMALETA. This is part 2. Yesterday I made a video about me talking about my Sprinter 2012, what am I going to be doing with it and stuff like that. I was going to talk about the customer I got today. They came in, well, not a customer, but just somebody that wanted me to tell them what's wrong with the vehicle, and I nicely offered my help. So that's kind of like what I want to talk about, but I also had some updates that I needed to get out of the way for my channel. And so in this video, we're going to talk about this 2012 Sprinter that pulled in, what kind of problem it had, what do I think has happened, and over here I'm going to post a, put up a video. And I did that in the last video, but I'm gonna put up a video over here so you're gonna be looking at it, kind of like what I've been doing and that whole situation. But it's not gonna have any sound, and that's going to be for tomorrow's video, which should have been today's video. But you only could do so much because I don't want to keep the video like this long. Yesterday's video, it needed to be an update of what's going on and what am I really doing for you guys. And when you look through my videos and you scroll just like what I'm doing, guys, you can see I'm pretty busy and I'm doing a lot of stuff. Starting to work with brands now, but I don't want that to keep me from posting the videos that I enjoy posting, which is helpful videos when it comes to sprinters and sometimes like real estate related and expedite related. So an expedite topic is going to be for another video. I haven't had a chance to really jump on it. I am kind of ready, and that's because, guys, I've just been swamped with work. Like, you would think that I'm at home, have all this time in the world, but not exactly. I'm kind of swamped. Plus, I have projects that I want to get out for you, but projects that I have to do for clients now. So anyways, let's get started, guys. So anyways, I was working on something really important in my house today, and when I have cameras and stuff set up everywhere, so I see on the monitors that somebody pulled in to my yard, and I see that it's a Sprinter van. So what do you think? I'm thinking, I actually thought it's one of my friends that has a Sprinter, and he comes to visit me because he already been here. It's got exactly the same looking Sprinter. So, and I thought, oh yeah, probably him. So I came out, and no, it's not him. And I thought, okay, maybe it's one of my YouTube viewers. So they probably was searching for me, and they found me, and they pulled in. And so I came out and said, what's up? And turned out it just somebody that was not even watching my channel, but they see that I have Sprinters here. And they're like, hey, do you work on these things? Can you tell me what's going on? So here's what's going on. And, I don't get the whole backstory. Like when, they're pulling in, I'm thinking it's their Sprinter. Turns out they're trying to actually purchase the Sprinter, and they're trying to make a right decision. Should they buy it or not? And one of the right decisions would be, before you buy a car, you take it to some kind of mechanic. Let them know if it checks out okay. Well, it not necessarily came to me for that reason, but here's what's going on. Check engine light on, tire pressure monitor is on, airbag light is on, bunch of these other stuff. Basically, it's a Christmas tree on the dash. So, they pulled in, and I said, what's up? So what's going on? And they're like, they started telling me some stuff, and immediately I knew what they were saying. They were talking about how, like, they were asking me, will the Sprinter start regenerating, for the particulate filter because it's not pulling and it needs to pull? And immediately I asked the question. I said, well, what do you use it for? Do you drive long distance, kind of like you do expedite, or you drive it local? And they said local. And I said, well, it's not going to regenerate driving local. You got to be going like 70 miles an hour for it to regenerate. They're like, oh, okay. So what if we drive from here to such and such a city? Will it regenerate? And I said, I don't know, because a lot of times it gets so bad that you'll have to like force regenerate the particulate filter because it's just so bad. And then even when it regenerates, the problem's going to come back probably like in less than a week, and then you're going to scan the code, and it's going to say that ash accumulation. So what's going on is your ash accumulating because it burns out all that soot and stuff, but where's the ash going? It just basically sits there, like in that compartment where it burned it off. Because the holes are so tiny for that stuff to get through, through the particulate filter, that, there's no place for ashes to go. So I'm kind of thinking, what a poor design. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I had the same issue on my Sprinter brand new 2007, where at 40,000 miles I started having issues with my particulate filter, with my check engine light coming on. And at the time, I wasn't servicing any Sprinters. It was 2007. I just bought one brand new from the dealer. So I took mine to the dealer and I said, it's pulling bad, blah, blah, blah. And guess what, guys? This is like the disappointing thing. I have warranty, right? But do you think they want to service you for the warranty for free? And they're like, oh, we don't know what it is. We think it's CGR, blah, blah, blah. But still, they don't offer any help. They do not change anything. And I keep taking it back there to the dealer. But they don't do anything. They just waste my time. They take it to the back and they're like, they're giving me a bunch of that. So, no definite answer. But guess what? Once I hit 100,000 miles and my warranty was up until 100,000, that same dealership immediately told me that, oh, it's a particulate filter. It's like, well, couldn't you tell me that before? Because by this time, you know what my fuel economy was, guys? 13 miles per gallon. Yes, 13 miles per gallon on a diesel van, but the average was, and this is when things were good, 18.7 miles per gallon, because there was two computers. Like one of them keeps track of all the, it could be like idling together with driving, that it's 18.7 miles per gallon. And then another one will be showing the fuel economy that was going on right now. Of course, I don't trust any of those things. So I always, when I fuel up, let's say at 500 miles, I fuel up full tank. Say, okay, I drove 500 miles. Oh, I filled up 26 gallons. I divide it into 500 miles, and then I get how many miles per gallon that would be. That's the way I do it. And then I learned that it's between 19 and 20 miles per gallon. But later on, it started to be like 16, 15, 13. Oh, it was so bad. I was spending so much money on fuel. And being that it was in 2008 by the end, I was still working and in Expedite, but the economy was already kind of like beginning to just go down the hill. Little did I know, I continued. It was basically becoming worse and worse as far as fuel efficient, but it was not. And the diesel prices at the time was like sky high, like it was really crazy, so it was kind of bad. But anyways, going back and focusing on this, besides this particular filter, this is not what they came for. They thought that's what they came for with this question, because somebody told them that they're buying a vehicle from, the check engine light is from ash accumulation. This is why. Well, they didn't tell them ash accumulate. Like they said, it's particulate filter, blah blah blah, and it needs to regenerate. Like they made it sound like, oh, it's just gonna regenerate. Like problem solved. Like But guess what? I scanned the check engine light, and it's none of those things. Like you'll see in the video tomorrow. I'm actually gonna show you the codes and everything like that, because I took a snapshot, and plus I have it in I have it on the GoPro. I was wearing a GoPro on my head. So I did a video on that, and I also did a video separately because the vehicle was there to teach the people that was looking at me, explain to them like what's going on underneath the engine, the location of various type of stuff, so that they're gonna know, okay? Because it is hard to spot sometimes if you just buy in a vehicle, you don't know what it is. So anyways, the ash accumulation code was like not even there. The particular code was not even there. But instead of that, we had a lot of intake manifold codes. And and when I scanned it with iCarsoft, actually, that's actually what I chose to scan it with, the iCarsoft CR Plus. That's what I used to scan it. But the very first time, I think I selected the wrong vehicle because I get confused a little bit because it's just a bunch of numbers, and I'm so used to scanning my old T1N. So I think I selected that option. I don't know. I'll have to look at the video. And it still read the codes. Still read the codes, but it gave me the codes for the, for the basic. They were different. They didn't give me like much definitions, but they were just saying to me that it was like intake manifold codes. I took the pictures of those, so I have both codes to compare. So it's a good thing I took pictures of those. So, at least it did read them. So then, I disconnected it and then I read it again, but this time I chose the proper type of vehicle, where it was like 3.0 six-cylinder, and it gave me actual definitions this time. So I'm like, okay, so I could see that one of the things, man, I forgot like what it's called right now. Like it's being stuck in an intake manifold, like when it opens up and closes. So I think it's like stuck closed, but it gave me 6 of those codes that's all related to sensors and stuff. So it seems like either the sensors have failed or the sensors are showing the exact problem what's going on, and what you really need to do is fix that problem and not the sensors. But naturally, that's probably gonna cost a lot of money for somebody to do, and plus you don't even know like if that's exactly what's going on. Okay, so anyways, I said to them, I would like to test drive it before I clear these codes. Are you okay if I clear them? Because, you know, maybe they want to take it to a dealer and they want the codes there. And the lady said, well, her dad used to be a mechanic, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, if there's a problem, the codes are going to come back. I'm like, that's right. So sometimes if you delete the codes, well, if there's a problem, they're going to come back, you know, plus they're driving the thing. So I took it for a spin, guys, and it just, gosh, like it accelerates so slow. It is so slow. Like, it is to the point where, man, like it's so slow, guys. It's really horrible slow. But you know what it reminded me of? It did remind me of like when my ash accumulation was so bad. And this is why I kind of like made that little whole intro thing into the ash accumulation. They thought it was a problem, but the only time I've seen this exactly similar thing, except the codes are not matching, and at the time I didn't even have a code reader, so yeah, I couldn't tell you what the codes was for me when it was not pulling. I didn't have a code reader. I learned how to fix stuff without no code reader. I was just thinking and trying to comprehend, like, what is the vehicle doing? Like, I asked these questions, like, why is it doing this? Why is it doing that? Like, what is the cause of that? So when it was so bad when the check engine light was on, except, you know, I had, like, O'Reilly's or something at the time, they scanned the code, and they told me, like, and I've looked at it, was a particular faulty code. So, yeah, that I know, yeah, so I remembered. That's why I knew that it was the code. But it wasn't like no definition. It was just like a simple little thing, because they had like a cheap little check engine light tool at the time. They scanned it, like, yeah, that's the code. So I looked up the code, the number that they gave me, and that's what the computer was telling me. But I tried to search for the information online, Sprinter forums, like nobody knew what's going on. But yet a lot of people were having this very same issue and not a lot of answers online. And but guys, that's actually what was going on. It was so bad with acceleration, and fuel economy was 30 miles per gallon. And I guess I would still need to check the fuel economy, because that's also important, because these things are going to go like hand in hand, like bad fuel economy with acceleration. That was the only time I've seen it accelerate so bad, like so poorly, guys, and especially up the hills. And so this is kind of like, I have some hills over here on this highway, and I'm like, oh my God, like it's so bad. It is to the point where it's like not even safe to drive this thing in the road. So I put hazards on because it's a 55-mile-an-hour highway, and I'm going like 25, 30 miles an hour. But then I noticed downhill, it's actually accelerating a little bit downhill. So that was a plus. And then another thing it was doing, if you actually start shifting it, because it's an electronic shifter, it's electronic hydraulic transmission, and I started shifting it, and this is actually what the lady said. She said, I shifted, because it's not my vehicle. I'm not just going to get in there and start shifting the heck out of a transmission. You know, chances are you could kill it, you know. But that's what she said. So then I tested it. I took it kind of like to the lake, because I always go in that direction, because a 3-mile drive, it gives me enough, kind of like diagnostics-wise, enough testing time. 3 miles there, 3 miles back. So when I was driving about 1.5 miles down to the lake, I did what I would normally do. I had the check engine light scanner connected, which was iCarsoft CR Plus, and I don't have the MB2, which is a little bit cheaper, but it was giving me the codes. But I deleted the codes. I said, you okay if I'm gonna go ahead and delete the codes? They're like, yeah. So I deleted the codes while driving, and this would give me an indication, like if you delete it, if things are gonna improve, it immediately will, speed things up, like your Sprinter, like, woo, like becomes alive again, and you can start driving. And even if 30 seconds later you're gonna get that same problem back, then you're like, okay, we have an issue, and you start, pointing like where it is, because now you're gonna get a fresh new code that's gonna give you a good clue as to what's going on. But guess what, guys? That did not happen. I deleted the code, and check engine light went away, but nothing. It's behaving exactly the same way. And the only code that came back, because yes, one code came back, and it had to do with intake manifold. So it's like, it's almost kind of like obvious, and I told them this before I even left. It looks like it's a swirl valve issue, but I never had that issue before. So I don't know how it's going to behave with the swirl valve issue. And obviously the code is there. There's no code for ash accumulation, so it's like I have to rule that out. But I cannot completely rule it out because I don't know what they did before me. Like they maybe had that code cleared. Maybe there was an ash accumulation code. You know what I mean, guys? And the check engine light reader that I have, it does not know what was present before, and you know, and I'm just doing it free too, so I'm not gonna be like digging and start taking stuff apart or really diving in, you know, to the diagnostics, because it's my time, and yet they don't even know the vehicle. Like they are trying to buy it, they're not trying to fix it, they're trying to negotiate with whoever that they're buying an event from to say, like, I guess things are really bad. So the only other time that I've seen a very similar problem is when your fuel filter, the regular normal fuel filter, when it's completely clogged up and no fuel is getting to where it needs to go. That's the only time I've seen like the same thing. Like you'll be driving in a highway and it's behaving a little bit different though. It's behaving a little bit different. That behavior is like this. Like you're going up the hill, right? Let's say like you're going up the hill somewhere in West Virginia. And you're like, oh, like you're going 60, but yet you get a bigger hill, right? And then now it's actually slowing down. Like it's actually slowing up the hill. You accelerate, so you would think it would stay at 60 or whatever, but no, it's going to slow down to 50, you know, and before you know it, just the gauge is going to go completely down. And it's because it's being completely drowned. Like there's no fuel. There's no fuel getting to where it needs to be. In this case, it feels a little different. Like I did say, you know, I don't know how your fuel filter is. I would recommend replacing it. Like that's one thing. I would definitely look at that. But the major codes that we're getting is the intake manifold type of codes, and you know, stuff like that. And you know, the intake manifold has the swirl valves, and those things are mechanical and in itself, and they stretch or somewhat, you know, and this problem happens. I never had to fix it myself, so I'm not going to give you a bunch of stuff that I don't know much about, you know, when it comes to those. So I'm kind of thinking that it's probably not even the sensors. It's probably something a little bit deeper. I would look at something that if there's anything that's opening up on the inside and closes. But I never taken a 3.0 engine apart. I'm just going to be honest with you. When I had a 2007 Sprinter, I had it for 2007, 8, and 9. And in 2010, I lost it to the bank because the bank would not allow me to catch up on the payments. And this is why I talk to you guys that you're going to get a brand new van. You don't know what's going to happen in your expedited market. Plus the fuel price is going up and insurance and maintenance. You just won't be able to afford to keep your van anymore. So that's another example that this van actually has. Here's what's going on. And I'm going to also talk about this in an expedite video. This van only has 300,000 miles on it. And guess what? The person owes $12,000 for it. And guess what? These people are going to try to offer the guy less than $5,000 for it. And that's actually what I actually advise. I said, listen, between $5,000 and $7,000 for this van. The engine sounds fine. Like I listen to the engine, it sounds fine, it drives fine, transmission shifting smoothly. It is somewhat clean. It does have dings and dents here and there. You know, it's a 2012 after all. It's not brand new. But would you pay more than that if somebody's selling to you with like a problem where it's not even pulling? And this is not just like some ABS light on. Okay, like that you could fix. That's not going to be that expensive. But if somebody's going to need to tear into that engine and start disassembling the intake manifold and things of that nature, you know it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them an arm and a leg. It could be easy $4,500, $5,000 job getting into that. And yes, these 3.0s, they're really expensive to work on. Not to mention, you're dealing with the DEF fluid in there. You're also dealing with all that other stuff. And there's extra stuff to remove. There's extra seals to replace. There's just a lot more steps to that engine. So I am not a fan of a 3.0 engine. It's not a bad engine, but it's worse than a T1N, in my opinion. And you would think they would improve on technology, right? Wrong. I guess, you know, sometimes it is true what they say. They don't make him, you know, you probably heard it before. They don't make him like they used to anymore. You know, a saying like that, it goes about anything. It goes to cars, it goes to anything. Like everything is thinner and cheaper on cars these days to save on cost. Like more stuff is plastic now, it breaks. and breaks, and it breaks basically, and nobody cares, because guess what, the consumer that bought it is going to be paying for it, and that is the unfair situation about it. Like, that's just how it is. But anyways, I'm going to share that video with you guys, like what I did to, you know, check the engine and stuff. And you know, there's only so much you could do, so they were like asking me like, how much should I offer them, and like, or like, what should I do? Oh, should I buy it? And I said, I'm not gonna tell you that. Like, I'm not gonna tell you to buy it, and then you're gonna buy it and you're gonna have like a $5,000 bill. Like, no, you're gonna have to make the decision yourself, because you know, here's what I know, and you're gonna have to make your decision, you know. But I told them pretty honestly, I never had this issue before. You know, this is not something I dealt with, so I'm not gonna like make up a story, you know. And if they're gonna take it to a mechanic, chances are, mechanic that does not know what's going on, they're gonna say that they do, and you don't know if that's true or not, and they're gonna start taking stuff apart. Sometimes breaking stuff in the process, but I'm not gonna say they do. But you know, they're gonna take it apart and they're gonna say, oh, you're gonna need this, and other thing. And guess what? Your van is at the dealer or mechanic shop, halfway taken apart. You want your van back. You want that van to be assembled. And you're gonna get a bill like this. And before you know it, you're like, oh man, I don't even think it's worth me paying for this van. And then you might not pay the guy and just sell it to them for pennies on a dollar. Nobody's gonna give you much for it. Like places like that, they might offer you $500, no more. That's it. It's like a junk. Like when the engine's not working, like in a car, it's worth like about $1,000. Seriously. But most people, they pay like these junkyards, if it's not working, disabled vehicle, they don't care what year it is, 50 or $100. That's it. Some will pay you up to 300. That's it. A Sprinter van, maybe it's gonna bring 1,000 to 1,500 when it's broken. And nobody cares that you serviced it with genuine Mercedes parts. It is broken. It is broken. Like, that's what it is. Like, but it's 30,000 miles. It is broken. That's the whole thing. Having low mileage in a vehicle is supposed to mean that it's not going to break. But if it's broken at 30,000 miles, let's say, it's broken. Yes, it's a 30,000 mile vehicle, but it's broken. It's not worth that much anymore. You know, unfortunately. Unless somebody could, you know, fix it and they do it themselves and they save a bunch of money, and then that's totally another thing. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna make another video, the approach to the whole fixing situation for my 2012 Sprinter. I know I talked about it partly, but I'm going to make a video as to like what are we gonna do and that kind of stuff, so you guys will know. And then yes, I'm gonna update you guys in this one in case you haven't seen the last one, that most likely I'm gonna start doing dual uploads, but not every day. So I'm going to do a morning upload for my hobbies, like editing in AutoCAD, because I've been practicing in AutoCAD and I record videos, because there's a lot of features that and I'm saying AutoCAD, no, BricsCAD. Yeah, BricsCAD. I don't have AutoCAD, but I do have BricsCAD. The features are very similar and it's a lot more affordable for that software. So I have the software, and now I'm having fun designing, because there's a lot of stuff you could do. And my hopes and dreams for the future is to actually get work, AutoCAD work. I love it. I love designing, and I didn't know I'm gonna have a YouTube channel. And when I started one, you know, I didn't know that I'm gonna love it. You know, I do. Like, now it's my life. But I'm naturally a designer. I'm an artist. I like to create stuff. So I guess naturally, YouTube, I get to create stuff. So it makes me happy. Like, it makes me fulfilled. And I like to do different things. But I also know there's a need, and I gotta fill that need. And the need is expedite information, Sprinter repair videos, and place to live, jobs, and stuff like that. Those things are important. But I also think that those hobbies that I'm gonna be doing, that I'm gonna be showing you, it's gonna teach you guys some stuff, like how to design some great stuff. Like, you might actually change your career and become a designer. That's why I want to show you guys and share with you guys how to design this kind of stuff. So please support me on those videos as well, because it's kind of like I put them out. I know, like, I do it for myself and have pleasure out of designing and teaching you guys and sharing. But please support me, you know, click on those videos and watch them, you know, see if you like it, you know. But that's actually what I'm doing, because I actually want to do that. And that's going to be something I'm going to be doing, like, now from until I get bored with it. Like I don't think I'm gonna be bored with it, because everything is designed. Like everything is designed today. I could actually literally design an iPhone if I wanted to, like my own version of it, because that software will allow me to do it. I could design an engine. I could design parts. I could design gaskets. I could design whatever I want, and then I could probably figure out a way how to improve on some of these parts and the sprinters that I'm working on. And I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, listen, this thing is plastic. I could design one that's going to be metal. It's going to be maybe a little bit thicker. It's going to be better. And I could maybe replace some components or design it in a way to where they're working together. And guys, like, you know, I could send it off to a CNC shop and have it made, or a laser cutting shop and have that stuff made, or a 3D printer and have it 3D printed. If it's a plastic part or component, I'll be able to design it, and guess what? Like, I'll be able to make money selling those parts, and some designs I could actually share with you guys and say, hey, if you want this part, go download it. You know, I don't know if it's gonna be free or not, because, you know, I could make some good money at it, but I could teach you how to do it. And maybe if you're designing something, you could actually start designing it for a company. Because guys, here's the truth of the matter is, when it comes to design, and I know this is completely off topic, when it comes to design, guys, nobody asks for your degree. Like, they don't care. They care about the work you could do, and they want to see your portfolio. So as long as you care about what you're doing, and that's like what you like, then potential customer, like, they'll hire you to work for them directly, or you could just become like a freelancer. And I want to be kind of like a freelancer. Like, I want to be able to sit at home and design till the morning if I want to, and then the next day I want to take a day off maybe. But I could also probably get some freelance work and say, hey, design this or improve on that or whatever, and I could do that because it will allow me to do that. And it's kind of cheap considering that how much we're invested in our expedite and all this other stuff, when you could actually have a job doing it without no degree, and you could literally learn it like in like a day how to use it, and maybe like in a couple months you could be good at it, and you're like, hey, what am I doing driving a sprinter van? I could be like totally doing that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Like, I'm going to be sharing with you guys, like, even if I get like some jobs with that, I'll share that with you guys, because like, hey, like, I'm open to ideas now, and I'm going to be working on my creativity, and I'm going to be taking that to the next level. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and in the next video we're going to talk a little bit about 2012 Sprinter and what I'm going to be doing. So see you guys in that video. God bless you. Take care.
My name is Serge ZIMALETA. I'm 37 years old, and yes, I experienced success after buying my first home for cash. Back in 2011, I was broke, but I learned to solve problems on my own. Now I'm helping others to solve their problems. I know what pitfalls to avoid to stay profitable in business. Need motivation to be more successful in your life? Do you have sprinter, expedite, or business problems? Then subscribe. Let's find creative solutions to your problems. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my helpful videos.